mean, is that instant garden or what? Sometimes projects don't happen on the same time schedule that we would like them to happen on, and they evolve over time. That's a little bit of what has happened with the new garden extension that I've been making over by the vegetable garden, which I told you about months ago now. The intention was for this to all be finished by this point, but you know, things just evolved. And so here we are today, and I am very excited that today we're making some serious progress. If you need to catch up on what's happening with this garden, I'm going to put a link to the original video that talks about the whole design and what's happening here. But today is an exciting day because this is where real bones go in. So first, let me show you what's been happening behind the scenes to get ready for this moment where we get to put in trees and shrubs. Now there's been a lot of grading work done here because all of this, if you recall in that original video, was that I wanted to bring the level of the fountain up a bit because it felt like it was going to be down in a hole otherwise. I'll talk about all of that in a separate video dedicated to dealing with the fountain. But since then, we've had to do some grading around. So I picked up 5 yards of a 50-50 mixture of screen topsoil and a compost blend that a local landscaper provides. I've used it before, it's quite good. It's helpful for not only creating some contours here, but it's also helpful because this is really sandy soil over here, so I really do need to bulk up the soil over here. So that will help over time. I mean, obviously, there's just this laying on top, but as we plant, it will get worked in. And plants will have a good opportunity to get rooted in. It's been really helpful to use that when I establish new beds here. So what I did was I had to bring up the soil back here. And the whole idea was this top edge of the fountain is essentially level with this, but then we're gonna bring the grade down. So I did create a little bit of, you know, a bit of a ramp down here. So we get down to basically the level that the soil was. And then I moved this path in here. I built this just extension of the path that was here. And this is just the wood chips that arborist chips that we have from when we get trees done. It looks a little rough because I have to work on the rest of the path through here, but it's just a continuation of the path, which takes me over to the vegetable garden that is over here. And then over here in this bed, I cleaned this out and extended this bed out quite a bit to create this new line. And that was all part of the original plan. There was a fair amount of extension here, so I brought in soil here. I had to clean out some stuff, and I did kill the grass underneath here first. So for this video, I'm just talking about the tree and shrub layer, and we're going to start with the most important tree, the sort of foundational tree of this whole project, and that is over here, which is with these beauties. So probably the most important plants in this garden are this series of gladiator crab apples that I've chosen for this. And I'll tell you a little bit about why specifically I chose gladiator. But the idea with these is that we're going to create a bit of a screen and a sense of enclosure from the road, which is just a few feet away. It was important to me that we have something that was mostly upright. It didn't have to be, it could have been columnar, it didn't have to be columnar. These are more of a sort of vase shape, but generally upright rather than a wide spreading one. But I thought about trees like Parkland pillar birch, which would have been an absolutely beautiful green background here. Problem with that is they get 40 feet tall. And we are dealing with power lines here, and that was the main factor. So these power lines are like 25 feet in the air. A lot of power lines, they say are 20 feet in the air, but you have to be very cognizant of this. And I'm telling you, especially in this neighborhood, you cannot get around this because this year the utility company came through, and what they did to some of the neighbors' trees is just horrifying. But it's not their job to make the pruning look pretty. It's their job to make sure that nothing interferes with the power line. So this is why it's really important to look up before you plant something. I also thought about something like a hornbeam, although I have a lot of hornbeams already, and I thought I wanted something different. Those two would get tall, but I could prune those if I wanted to. Do I need to have more pruning in my life? I mean, probably not. Why would I do that if I didn't have to, right? So long story short, we ended up at this beautiful gladiator crabapple, which has a lot going for it, including this beautiful foliage, as you can see here. These will get 9 feet wide by 20 feet tall or so. And 9 feet is just about perfect because with the spacing that we have here, which is 6 of my shoe lengths between pots, if you want to get highly technical about it, these should all intermingle eventually. I also could have done an evergreen situation, but the only evergreen that I could think of that would be quick growing is arborvitaes, and I don't need any more arborvitaes, to be honest with you. I'm over arborvitaes in general, so I didn't care for that. So gladiator crabapples checked all the boxes, and an additional box, which was spring flowering, because I am a little short on spring flowering trees in this garden, so that will certainly help bulk that up, and it will be a beautiful show over here. And First Edition Shrubs and Trees was nice enough to send me these gladiators, so big thanks to them for helping me get these. And gladiators are beautiful, so they've got this beautiful, really dark foliage on them, very pretty. I've already mentioned that they get 9 feet wide by 20 feet tall. Hardiness in zones 2 to 8, which is a nice range. I mean, that hardy down to zone 2 is pretty amazing. And perhaps best yet, they're very disease resistant, because if you know anything about crab apples, they can be prone to a variety of diseases, some of which I actually deal with here. So these should be very rust resistant and resistant to other crab issues as well. So with this great backdrop of the gladiators here, this is going to be the perfect foil for just creating this kind of room that I'm going for here. Here's another really cool shrub that's going to be going in here. This is a mugo pine called Pesto. This is a gorgeous guy, and actually this one is pretty much full grown according to the tag. It says 3 feet wide. Well, we're almost there. But it creates this lovely low mound. Just beautiful. And I put this right here on this sort of slope that comes down, and I think it's going to be a perfect little accent in here. Now this is a pretty slow grower. It's only grows 2 to 4 inches a year, and it gets, they say, 1 foot high by 3 foot wide. I would say it's about a foot high right now. Once we get it out of the pot, you'll see how low it is. And it's not quite 3 feet, but darn close to it. Super hardy down to zone 2. And then the last tree that's getting added to this area I've already told you about, which is this absolutely gorgeous weeping katsura tree. This is Morioka weeping. And I've wanted one of these since I first saw them growing ages ago, and I'm really excited to be adding this one to the garden. My hope here with this is that, I mean, they grow quite wide. Let me give you the size on this. This is 20 feet tall by 15 feet wide. My hope is that this will actually grow over the path a little bit, just a few branches, so that you actually walk through it when you're at the path. Right now, we are probably 5 feet from the path. Maybe I'll move it a little bit closer now that I think about it. But let me tell you a little bit more about this. So it's hardy down to zone 4. It turns a gorgeous yellow in fall. They have this beautiful kind of sugary scent to them in fall, and all around I think it's just a fabulous tree. You can see a little, obviously you can see the weeping habit here. This one was cut back, I think, to kind of help the branching develop a little bit. But all in all, gorgeous. It is not loving life in this pot though, so it's going to be really happy. I've been really nervous about this one, so I'm happy to get this one into the ground. So that is what I'm planting today. I'm going to be adding a bit of Organic Mechanics biochar blend to these planting holes, as well as the entire planting area. I'm also going to be putting in a little bit of their Forget About It root feeder packs, which is just a bunch of organic goodness that you kind of throw in there. All right, let's get to planting. Well, that was a big fat lie, because this is not all we're planting today. I just totally forgot about the other shrubs that are coming in here because they are not in pots. I'm going to be transplanting the Tough Stuff hydrangeas from another part of the house over to here. We'll talk about that when we get to that part, but first we have to get these planted. But there are a bunch more shrubs coming.
Walk around Shelby Park after dark with a buzz and no plans. When did the good days end? Writing phone numbers down with a pen on the back of my hand. Do you remember when? Racing bikes to the square, carved our names on the back of sand and the sun on our skin. Do you wanna be my friend? Do you wanna be my friend? Talk on the phone until it's 2 a.m. You told me all about your dad. Those were some good days we were living in, but we just didn't know it yet.
Now there's a little bit of thunder and a little pop-up storm coming very shortly, so I'm very glad I got this in the ground now. I think these leaves are a little folded because I think it's been a little stressed in that pot. I'm in love with it. I just love this tree. I think it looks so cool here. I'm gonna keep working as long as I can. I might need to take a break.
Calling off from our ships, climb the fence just to go skinny dip. When did the good days end? Making music for fun, filthy rich, but no money to spend. Do you remember when?
The situation here.
Made you cry in my head.
Look at this. It's pouring, and I got halfway through digging out these tough stuff hydrangeas, and I'm like, well, now I'm into it, and now I got to get them in. So let me just show you what's going on, and then I'm going to put my phone away and get this done. Okay, they're all here. I did not get a chance to prune them, so I'm just going to get them in the ground for now. That's the most important thing. I will prune them after they're in, and then I'm going to get them over here. Well, I was going to show you the process of getting these tough stuff hydrangeas moved over here, but then there was a thunderstorm and I already had one dug up, and I did not want these to sit out. So let me show you what they look like now, but they are going to need to be pruned. So these are they look much bigger when they're alone. But you can see, I mean, there's a lot of foliage to support here. This is not a good time to be transplanting hydrangeas. So it's going to be stressful on them. So I'm going to give them a big cut here, and it's going to be painful because there are flowers on here and everything. But there is some dead wood, so they'll be easy to prune that out. Let me get these pruned in the pouring rain, and then we'll show you what they look like. Okay, sorry for probably the bad audio and the phone camera footage here, but still raining. This is what they look like pruned. First of all, they look much better. Second of all, I could probably take them back even more, and I will if they start getting super sad, but I cut off a good, third to a half of them, I would say. I do have one more for right there. The look is getting better. Check out the knees. The legs are pretty good too, huh? I guess I'll go take a shower and we'll pick this up tomorrow. It's the next morning, and unfortunately I couldn't show you that whole process because those thunderstorms were no joke. We got a ton of rain, and I just needed to get those in the ground because, of course, once you start digging up plants, especially at this time of the year, you got to get them, especially something like a shrub, you got to get them in the ground right away. I can't wait to show you this. All right, check this out. I mean, is that instant garden or what? Looks so good. So I only had 5 to transplant, and I actually need 7 because we need one more over there in that corner, and then I want one here on the other side of the path so that it helps it flow across the path. One of the things I like to do anytime I'm planting across a path is to repeat plantings on both sides. So basically design it as though the path wasn't there and the plantings continue, because it helps it feel way more cohesive. Anyway, I had picked up 2 at a local nursery quite a while ago now, and I will stick them here and in that corner. But there was no need to rush to plant those because those are perfectly happy in their pots, more or less. And it's not uncommon, like you'll notice, like check out the leaf color on these. You can see there's a little bit of bronzing. In my experience, that's quite common on these tough stuffs and these hydrangea serratas when they get a touch stressed or a touch too much sun. They come out of it no problem. I mean, you can see here, these are perfectly green leaves. In fact, green to slightly chlorotic, to be honest, which is no problem to deal with. So anyway, we will get one here and in that corner. However, I'm not going to plant anything there right now because we need to leave this area clear in order to accommodate getting the fountain in here. So this corner needs to just stay empty until the fountain part of this event is dealt with. One of the unexpected things that happened immediately when I planted this and I took a look from the house is the feeling of enclosure that this has created. Now, that's of course part of this plan, is to kind of shield the view from the road a little bit. The idea is to gain some intrigue. You know, anytime you can't really see around a corner or there's something happening that you can't see, you just want to follow down that path or get in there to see what's going on. And so that was part of the plan here. But I did not anticipate how much, even with these plants in a smaller phase of their life, the sense of enclosure that comes from having those planted there. It feels like, I put an end cap on the garden. I did not expect it, and I'm absolutely in love with it. And if this doesn't make you believe in the power of trees and shrubs and what a difference they can make almost instantly, then nothing will. Well, obviously we've got some more stages of this project to come. We've got to talk all about this fountain. And then of course there's more planting to happen too. Thanks for following along. Make sure you tune in for the next one.